Hi, I'm Jeanne Chung. I'm with Cozy Stylish Chic, and I'm here in Pasadena, California, in our studio. So I'm an interior designer, and I also own a retail and to the trade showroom with my husband, Ray. Design has always been in my DNA. Even growing up, we didn't have a whole lot, but my mom was always about, decorating the home. And for her, it was like she saved up and she always wanted the best. She didn't want to just make do with something just to have it. I was in fashion design for 25 years prior to discovering interior design, and that's what kind of set the tone for a lot of how I see things now. I remarried back in, when was it? 2004. And I found I never thought I'd move back to New York City after being in Los Angeles and Singapore and living all around the world. And I was a stay-at-home mom, was supposed to be. I kind of retired from fashion design. I was supposed to be a stay-at-home mom. That lasted 3 months, and I couldn't stand it. I was stir crazy. I went back to school. I went to New York School of Interior Design. I was living in New Jersey and commuted into the city 3 days a week. And then 2008 hit. And so we moved back to California, to Pasadena. And I always wanted to, run my own interior design firm. Didn't think that it was possible. So went back into fashion. And in order to keep up with the interior design, I started blogging. And made a lot of connections that way. And then from that, took on clients. And here we are. Our typical client is a well-traveled, well-educated professional who appreciates art, and who is looking for, they want what they want, and they see design as an investment and that it's going to improve their lives. So they're not afraid of investing in themselves. And the best clients are the ones who trust us. That's not always the case, but the ones who do, they get the most out of it. So, it's tough being a designer when you have a certain vision. You learn about your clients, and you want to put together a space that really reflects them, but they don't really know what they want, and you present the best to them, and no, and they try to control the narrative, and we spend 3-6 months chasing after something, and then ultimately they go back to the very first thing that we presented. I think a lot of the conversations that we're having with our clients is, hey, how old are you? Do you think that you're going to be spending a lot of time here? Are you going to be growing old here? Even if they're 50 years old, if they're like my age or so, that's the time to really think about those things. And, there's that misconception that accessible design is ugly, and it's not. A lot of it is just preparing. And you can have, a curbless shower. That's not ugly, but you put that in, you make sure that your radius in the bathroom, you've got 60 inches, so that in the event that you've got a wheelchair, or even if you have an older family member coming to visit, that they can, use the bathroom when they come to visit. Making those doorways a little bit wider, the doorways, the hallways, putting blocking in the walls. You don't have to put grab bars in right now, but how it's so much easier to prep for that. It costs you, pennies to put the blocking in the walls. And then can you imagine when, something happens and you're you're incapacitated. Suddenly you have to put grab bars into the wall in a shower. Well, to take all that tile down, waterproof and do all that, that's a big production. But if that's already there, when the time comes, you just drill it in. There's so much that I see going on. There's definitely the white and gray. That sterile kitchen, we're not seeing a whole lot of. Things are really warming up. And you see, creamier white. So it's not the stark, white, but it's creamy whites mixed with natural stain, or not natural, and then also just stained woods, a mix of materiality. And, we want all the different textures and materials to tell that story. Things are softer. We're not seeing so many hard edges. A return back to more traditional elements. And when I say traditional, not so much like the heavy, ornate, cottage core kind of traditional, but simple. Simple, where we celebrate the materials. Um, Quartz countertops and porcelain. They were very popular the last few years. But then I'm seeing a return back to natural materials. Is that because of this return to nature and biophilia? I'm not sure, but I think that we're seeing perfection in the imperfect. And, in a kitchen where, a lot goes on, it's okay to have etching on a natural stone. That contributes to the story. We were also layering with light. So it's not just one source of light, but it's different sources of light. You've got task lighting, you've got ambient light, you've got, the lighting in toe kicks. You've got the in-cabinet lighting, and I think that's where the reeded glass comes into play. So when you light up those spaces, and you can really set a mood in the home with that. I think that we're all craving human-centric design. I know that wellness has been a key, a buzzword out there. Everybody's designing for wellness, but what's wellness? We want to feel good in our spaces, and that takes into account all the senses. It's seriously, you walk into a space and it's how you feel, how it smells, and the proportion, all of that, lighting, the color temperature in a space. I mean, I know I walk into a space and I can tell right away when the color temperature is off and it's too cool. I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel right. And a lot of our clients don't realize that, but when we point that out to them, they're like, oh my gosh, you're absolutely right. I mean, I had somebody who, she brought us in for a consult, and like, I don't know why, but my house it does not feel warm and cozy. And I walked in, I'm like, you don't need to hire me. You just need to change all your light bulbs. That I am a true crime junkie. I may look really sweet right now, but when I'm on the job site with the contractors, I have a mouth of a sailor. I love to fall asleep to Dateline. I mean, it's my little lullaby. It puts me to sleep. My poor husband. He probably sleeps with one eye open. And I don't know what it is about true crime. I think it's maybe because, as an interior designer, I'm a problem solver. And I do like that true crime and how, gosh, what's going on, and think about all those different scenarios. And And then to see the crime being solved, that's kind of exciting to me.